Welcome to this channel again, and in this video we're gonna cover how to build a remote business the right way. And a lot of people actually wonder how to do it properly, and you're probably trying to do it yourself because you're hiring virtual assistants, you're hiring team members from across the globe, and you probably have worked with either Filipinos, Latin Americans, and you want to know the exact systems, the exact nitty-gritty things to do in order to build a business the right way. And the truth is that we have our team members that we flew from across the ocean, Mexico, Colombia, here in Las Vegas today, and we've actually placed over 1,000 people across the globe in hundreds of businesses across the US, over 500 businesses now, that they all work remotely. And these 10 things, a lot of people miss on and don't know how to do it. So we're gonna go dive deep into it, explain to you exactly how to do it properly, how to set it up properly, so you can do it too. And go back at home after this video and just start putting those things together. This is Omir Block, co-founder of Remote Latinos. I'm Esteban Andrade, co-founder of Remote Latinos. Omir has been a remote closer and also has run an agency to build remote teams longer than I have, but then we partnered up back in 2022. He and I are going to explain to you everything.
I'm excited to be in part of this video. Esteban and I are now in WealthCon, so you guys are going to be seeing people walking around, and we're one of the 4 main sponsors of WealthCon, and I feel like we're the only people that actually flew out teams outside of the US, and people here are getting absolutely mind blown the fact that there are people, real people from Colombia and Mexico that are here, that speak great English, that are educated, that can actually help you elevate your business. And we want to give you these 10 things that have helped us scale 2 companies and be able to live a life completely 100% remote.
Make sure to stay to the end of this video because the last 2 things are going to be completely changing the way that you run your remote business. So the first thing is that you have to have the right infrastructure, because if you run a remote business and your team has a crappy internet service, or they're in the wrong place and you're not going to be able to communicate with them, they're not going to be able to do nothing, either yourself. So make sure that your entire team has great internet. And this might sound like a very basic, simple thing, but a lot of people miss out on this. When they're doing the hiring process, how many people actually just hire someone and then all of a sudden, weeks into the job, oh, they're never going to be able to connect again. Oh, they're having trouble with like power. Oh, like we actually had people from South Africa that we lost them every single day because they had load shedding and the power just went out. Or people that were in Venezuela and their Wi-Fi was just so terrible, we were not even able to talk. And when they were to meet with clients, it was just terrible.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we do is we have every single candidate go to the website speedtest.net, and they have to share the screen on the Loom video and actually show us the internet speed that they have. And anything under 40 to 50 megabytes per second is just not acceptable in today's day and age, because we need to have good internet. It doesn't need to be elite and not like 1 terabyte. But one thing to note, guys, and this just happened with one of our clients, is that when you have someone that consistently has internet issues on the interview in the first week, they're probably going to continuously have bad internet. So you have 2 choices. You either not hire that person at all, or if you do hire them, you immediately invest into their internet. Otherwise, you're going to consistently have problems and you're going to blame the person, even though that's not necessarily directly their fault, because they just have bad internet. They never upgrade the internet. So either don't hire that person or upgrade the internet. Point number 2 is effective communication. How you effectively communicate with someone, because you cannot physically touch them and physically see them in their office and walk in and be like, hey, Esteban, can you check your email? Hey, Esteban, can you do this? Is by having a platform where everybody's on, and set the clear expectation that messages have to be answered within a 5 to 10 minute gap. If people are taking 2, 3, 4 hours to respond to you, they're either not on the Slack or they don't care, which means you don't need them to be on there. So we use Slack as a form of communication, but many of our clients use Discord, Telegram, Google Chats, Microsoft Teams. It doesn't matter. All those are the same. If you're a great communicator, which with us, the way you're going to get a job, the way, if you're watching this, if you're looking for a job, you have to be an elite communicator. But even more importantly, as a business owner, you have to be a great communicator when it comes to communicating with your team. Number 1, communicating with your clients, communicating with prospects. If you suck at communicating, you're probably having a hard time scaling your business, because a lot of business, especially in the remote world, is communication. So we love using Slack. We love using automations. And most importantly, setting the clear expectation that every single message has to be answered within a 5 to 10 minute span. Otherwise, there's going to be huge gaps and things are not being done, especially when people don't work weekends. So if you have a message that was supposed to be answered Friday at 3 p.m., but now someone has to wait till Monday, that's 3 days of you having to wait. And even here's something worse. Maybe your team potentially can wait, but your clients don't want to wait. Your clients are moving on fast.
So here's a few hacks, guys. With Slack, you can actually create different notifications from different platforms that you have. If you're generating leads, if you're doing reports, generating KPI reports, or whatever, you can use the Slack and you can actually create workflows or just different notifications within Slack channels, and the entire team will get notified. You can either notify the entire channel, or you can notify a specific person or the person that are online, and you can make them private or public. And for example, we do a digest every week about kind of what happened in terms of KPIs, because people have submitted a form and all those KPIs get digested through a platform called Zapier or even Make. And Slack, you're going to go, and if something was said, something was ever communicated from one team member to another team member, or a client to another team member, like, you're going to find it in Slack. Anything that has to do with communication. If you're, for example, also getting messages from your clients, you can also send those notifications of messages from your clients or your emails to Slack in a channel. So you'll find everything in Slack. That's why we use the Slack, and we'll leave a link to Slack in the description. Or you can use things like Microsoft Teams and so on. So the third thing is you have to make sure you can manage every project and task with your team while they're being remote. And we use tools like Asana, Trello, Monday.com, ClickUp, or Notion. You have to choose the best that you're going to use for your team. And honestly, every single one of those options work. You just have to make it work for yourself. But the top options for us have been always ClickUp and Notion. And we use ClickUp every single day in order to organize our tasks, organize our client management, organize everything that has to do with projects that we have to do, and put together everything that we need. And the good thing about this is that with ClickUp, you can connect it to a Slack, which we talked about, and you can receive notifications about every task that you put, every deadline, every urgency, and then ultimately just be able to collaborate with your team. And having a project management tool, a task management tool, is much more important, even in a remote environment, because it's going to keep you really aligned on the to-do things, project-based things, and client management things for your team. So whether you're in real estate or you're an agency, doesn't really matter.
Point number 4 is where you store all of your data, all of the memory of your company in a sense. We like to use Google Drive, but a lot of people like to use Dropbox, although we prefer Google Drive because it's so much easier. We actually have terabytes of storage. We actually store our content in there, our SOPs in there, and all other materials, whether it's trainings or resources, just to make sure that we have one place where each person can go into and easily find whatever they're looking for. This is what we actually use when we onboard a brand new team member. We have them create a folder with their full name, and we actually post the trainings every single day that we do with them, so that way they can go back and relearn it instead of us having to every single time get on a one-on-one call with them and learn, and having them to learn everything from scratch. So Google Drive is the best way for you to keep all your resources together and make sure that all trainings are on one platform.
And to add that, if you fuse it with Zapier or Make, you can automate the creation of these folders, the creation of the Google Docs, and everything that has to do with Google. Because Google also has the ability for you to have Google Calendar, the ability for you to have Google Hangouts, for you to have Google Meet. So you're going to have everything in one place.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to store all your company documents, every material that you have, SOPs, like he said, material, training, all of that in one place. The sixth point is you have to make sure you have HR systems and payroll systems. How do you pay your employees? How do you keep them accountable? Or how do you even have all their information when you hire them in one place? And there's different platforms that you can use. There is Gusto.com that was recently partnered up with Remote. You can also use things like On Top. You can also use things like Deal.com, Remote.com, but we actually use right now Wise.com in order to send money to our employees. We have used in the past things like Remitly.com, Remit World, Zoom with X, and all of this helps you take care of payroll. And
Right.
at some point, depending on where you are in terms of how many team members you actually need to pay, Wise might be the best option for you to get started. Remitly could also help you. But as you get more and more team members, you probably want to go to an employer of record. You want to go to a full system that has everything that you need to file their taxes, to upload their onboarding documents, to pay them directly in their bank. And those are things like deal.com, useontop.com, remote.com. But you'll figure it out as you go. We actually have a few links of those that we actually use on a day-to-day basis and the ones that we recommend to our clients and that we use ourselves. Wise.com. You cannot go wrong with that one.
And then to add to that, what we always recommend to our clients is to partner up with a company like Hubstaff to track the hours of your team members. So if you're paying your team members on salary, it's not as necessary, but if you're paying people on hourly, which a lot of our clients are doing, the best way to track the time and the efficiency and overall the activity of your team members is through hubstaff.com, and it's very cheap. It's $20 per user. It'll give you the time record. It'll give you the activity of the person. And most importantly, you can actually pay through for every single person based on their hourly clocking in and clocking out.
So that was point number 8. And there's different tools. Hubstaff, Time Doctor, Clockify. You choose. You figure out what works best for you. But Hubstaff has been great for us. At some point, our platform will have something integrated so that you can use within remotelatinos.com. Number 9, this one is going to be one of the most important ones that you need to do for your remote business, which is how you engage on every single day culturally and with engagement on every single time that you actually socialize with your team members. So this has to go all the way from reporting on their KPIs, reporting on their day-to-day, on their end of the weeks, and you do that through end of the day reports. You also will do that through end of the week reports. The end of the day reports will help you have a visibility of what's happening KPI wise and where the energy levels of your employees are at. So in the end of the day report, you can have a form that they can fill out at the end of the day, and that form will go to Slack. You'll be able to see the information of that person and understand what their KPIs are for that specific date. And for end of the week, you'll be able to see how they feel during the week. What type of ideas do they have? How they felt about their role? What can be changed? What can be improved? What do they need help on? And all of this is going to be reported through different forms and through different notifications that you get in Slack and email and so on. Make sure that you actually check all of this reporting and the feedback loops that your team members will give you on a weekly basis, because this is a very important information that you need to know what's happening in the day-to-day basis, in the week-to-week basis. Remember that you can't tap someone on the shoulder and ask them for feedback or give them feedback. So this is one of the best ways to actually keep engaged with your team member, even if you're not there in person. So do end of the day reports, end of the week reports. Another game changer that we've done is at the end of the month or at the beginning of the month, so you can cover the previous month, you do something called the town hall meetings. In the town hall meetings, you essentially go through an agenda where we go over what did we learn. So what do we need to continue doing? What do we need to stop doing? What do we need to start doing? And all of these 3 things will be discussed among all the team members that you have. You get everyone in the town hall meetings and you'll discuss all of this with them, right? In the agenda, you'll also go about wins. So what did we win in terms of how many clients we got? How many deals we closed? Who was the top closer? Who was the top client success coach? Who retained the most amount of clients? And who got the most amount of upsells, cross-sells? Who won the most amount of money? If there was a competition during that month, we want to be able to talk about that. If there was something good in that month, we want to be able to talk about it. If there was something bad in that month, we want to be able to talk about that as well. And this is where you actually keep it very, very vulnerable and transparent with your team member. Here, you also want to share what's the revenue that the current company has in the last month. And you also want to talk about the goals that you have in that quarter and where you are in terms of the goals, and respectively with those leaders and individual team members. And part of the agenda also is ultimately giving shout outs to people, recognizing other people and so on. And actually, I learned this from one of my coaches. His name is Cole Gordon. And then I reinforce this by seeing the content from the Hermosis, Layla and Alex Hermosis. And after we applied that to remote Latinos, it was like a game changer.
So what we like to do when it comes to EOWs is to assign a person to actually review it. The best person that you can do is an operation manager. But if you're watching this and you currently do not have operation manager, two solutions. One, hire an operations manager, or two, you are the operations manager, right? So what I like to do is on the weekends, I like to check every single end of week report, right, from every single team member. So if you don't have an operation manager, odds are you probably have 5 to maybe 10 team members. You want to set about an hour aside on maybe even 2 hours on the weekend and review every single EOW. And you're going to either, this is something that I did, review it on through writing or through a video. And how I ask is I actually ask my team, how do they prefer to get an end of week report? Do they prefer to watch something or do they prefer to read something? And you would be surprised. Some people much rather read their end of week report through copy. Some others might want to read it through a Loom video or watch it through a Loom video. So it's up to you to figure that out. But most important is not to skip this. If you're making people just submit EOWs and you're not reviewing it, you're not even taking a look at it, you're missing out on critical feedback that people are seeing on a regular basis. You're missing out on things that people are seeing that you're not seeing because they're in a battlefield every single day and they can help you by helping them because they're actually reaching out to, hey, this is not going right. This is not going right. This is going great. I'm so happy with the XYZ. And now you need to be aware of that. So we have a person that is dedicated to looking at the EODs, which is the end of day reports. Then we have a person like me or the operations manager that's dedicated to EOWs. And the last thing is the town hall meeting. What we like to do, we have a presentation. So everything that Esteban just said, continue doing, start doing, stop doing, the winners, we have everything to a presentation. This is an hour-and-a-half meeting once a month at the beginning at the first Friday of every single month that every single team member has to be on, right? Some people like to take off Fridays because it's a long weekend. Make sure that this is the one Friday they are not allowed to take off no matter what. Even if they're feeling a little bit sick, they can take the call from a Zoom on their bed. This is a very important call for them to be on because it establishes what happened the previous month, the previous quarter, and most importantly, what to look ahead, what needs to change, what needs to get better, and start the week and start the month on the best note possible.
Yes. And then one of the last things is doing something like this. So right now we are in Las Vegas. And every so often with the remote environment, you're going to notice that they're not going to be seeing their team members ever. So we like to go to their countries and eventually just take them out with dinner. Do something nice for them. Make them feel great. And if you end up hiring people in the same city, make sure that the leaders of that city take them out to dinner on the name of the company so that they can do some team building activities. So for example, we have people in Colombia and our client success head or leader was going to take people to dinners. They're going to take them to do activities within Bogota and so on. And the same thing for people that live in Medellin. So we have more than 2 people already in Medellin. So we are able to now go to Medellin, take them out for dinner and have an enjoyable time. And if you have people, for example, in Asia, well, one thing you can do is you can either travel or you can plan something during the entire year about one meetup that will change the game forever for your team, because now they're going to feel like, okay, they're actually doing something for us. We're growing. We're helping the team. We're helping the agency, or we're helping the company grow and adding revenue. Well, now you're going to do something great. And that can be something like a retreat. I have a video on YouTube that I created on how we did our retreat and exactly what we did. I'm going to put the link of that in the description below. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you the template of what we do on the end of the day reports, end of the week reports, the town hall meeting, all of that for free. Just because we want you guys to actually hire the right people, be able to hire properly. And if you don't find your team member or your A player, or you find an A player and then they just leave and they quit, it's probably your fault. As a business owner, you got to think about it. And the last thing is something you always got to have. It's a CRM, client relationship management system. If you don't have that, you're not going to be able to communicate with clients and with other vendors or so on through text messages or through emails, and you're not going to have a centralized system. So use something like HubSpot, Go High Level, Salesforce, which could be a little bit of an overkill, but HubSpot and Go High Level, you cannot go wrong with any of those. I just know that we use Go High Level. That's what we use to communicate with clients. How we
And Slack.
and Slack, obviously. And Go High Level, it has everything. We're actually going to leave a link for you to sign up to Go High Level for free. I think it has like a 7 or 14-day trial. Go High Level is a great place for you to store all your client relationship management stuff, be able to text your clients, be able to email your clients, process sales, create contracts, and so on. And your entire team can be in there because you can create unlimited users for Go High Level for now. And that's the last thing. So if you're not doing this, if you're not doing all of these 10 points, which are really the key for you to have the best talent in the world, hire the best talent in the world, and keep the best talent in the world, you're probably gonna see those A players that you hire just come to your company and then leave a few months after. Make sure that you have everything in place. And we're gonna go over the hiring process, the training process, the cadences, and so on that you have to have in a day-to-day basis once you onboard someone. Because if you don't have all of these 10 things, you're probably gonna feel like I'm not growing and like something is not working in my business, and the people that I'm hiring, they're just not it. But probably is that you have not really been self-aware that maybe you are not it. So go ahead, read and listen more about how to properly have a team member onboarded. We recently heard about a book called Buy Back Your Time from Dan Martell. We're going to read it. Looks like that one is going to be a game changer book for you to actually build your team. Because Dan Martell said,
You build the people build the business.
so thank you for watching. If you like this content or this type of content, subscribe to Omir's YouTube channel at Omir Blog and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Estimate. See you next time.